that must have been a little echoey on the way in, huh? Sorry about that, folks. I forgot to take off the extra microphone source, but we're still here. You still got us. And by us, I don't mean just me and my many personalities. Nope.
Of which he has many.
Did you hear that voice? I swear to God, they're coming. They're taking over. No, that's not the voice in my head's talking. That's my good friend, my right hand, my spare tire.
Wow, at least I'm not a third wheel.
My fourth wheel. The reason that I smile every day, Mr. Don Longbeard. Oh, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
You go to hell for lying, pal.
Well, I have good company.
I'll be right there with you.
In hell, I'll be with good company. That's what is that? The Dead South, the band from Canada, the Dead South. Yeah. In hell, I'll be in good company, or something like that. It's a great song if you haven't heard it.
That's a great band. I like that band. Oh boy.
I love that song. What can I say? But welcome everybody to the Paranormal Portal. As always, we have a full 2-hour fun fest planned for you guys. And hopefully it ends up being fun. It's one thing to plan a party, and then there's another thing to actually have the party. So we hope that you have fun while you're here. The phone lines will be open throughout the duration of the show. If you want to call in, you got something paranormal to share, then by all means, feel free to call in. That's 720-923-0500.
0500.
I'm talking with my hands, gesturing.
Settle down, Carbon.
Hey, you guys. No, kitty is my papa.
Sorry. But yeah, we got a good show hopefully lined up for you guys. So I hope you're ready to be wildly entertained, or at least mildly entertained, whatever the case may be. But we're going to grind right into it. But Don, how you been? Quickly.
Good. Yeah, I didn't set off the alarm this morning when I went to work, so I guess that's a good thing.
So they were expecting you this time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay,
they were expecting me to set it off, and they said, "Oh, let's just take care of it for him."
He's here. Pull the alarm. Pull the alarm.
Here we go again. It's dipstick Dawn.
He doesn't even work here. Why does he keep coming back?
That's like that guy in Office Space with mine.
Yeah, the stapler. Yeah, the squirrels that fell in love. Yeah. There you go. That's Don, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
All right, but let's see. What am I forgetting? What am I forgetting, Don?
I don't know, but Lunatic Friend says, hi V Bob. Hi Evie Bob.
Every Bob?
Everybody.
No,
it says Evie.
Okay.
Evey Bob.
Evie
Bob.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi to all of you guys. And let's see. Am I forgetting something? Yes, I am.
You are?
Yes, I'm forgetting to tell you guys, hey, I hope you're ready, because it's getting spooky.
Spooky.
Ooh, that means it's official, Don. Do you hear that boom? Boom. That means it's official, folks. We are now live and underway here on the Paranormal Portal. Our Wednesday edition is 2 full hours, and we're going to do our best here. So,
like the cars.
I got a big weekend coming up.
Oh,
Don.
Yeah, big weekend. Good
Huge
gosh,
weekend.
Yes.
We're going to be in the Medellin Falls, Washington state this weekend, folks. And we're going to be attending the Medellin Falls Bigfoot Festival, which is going to be an excellent show. Now, I know that a lot of people were a little put off because they're, I wanted to see the speakers, but it's all sold out. Well, guess what?
Guess what?
Well, not only could you go to the festival and meet the presenters, they're going to be doing the meet and greets out in another area as well between their talking times and such. So you have the opportunity to meet all the people that are presenting at the event. But if you want to hear their talks, they are now, ladies and gentlemen, now available is let's see what, hold on. Let me get this over here to the other screen. But they are opening up, and I mentioned this a few other times on the show, but I want to keep plugging it because it's a great opportunity for you guys out there that didn't get tickets for the event to still get to hear these speakers talk. But they're now opening up. Where's my button? There it is. They're opening up live streaming.
Live streaming of the entire event.
The entire speaking engagements, and you know, I'm sure there'll be some other footage as well, but this is a great opportunity, and you can see what's going on here. All of the presenters. Adam Davies is emceeing, or Davis, I think you pronounce it Davis, actually, but is emceeing. Presenters are Ken Gerhard, who Ken we met, is a wonderful, wonderful guy. Cryptozoologist, TV personality, author, and just an incredibly kind, nice guy. Larry Beans Baxter, who's written a book on Bigfoot up in Alaska, and he's also part of the Extreme Expeditions. What is it? What's
Extreme Expeditions
Northwest LLC. Yes, I wanted to make sure not to screw that up. And Kevin Lyellen is going to be there. Robert Alley, Dr. Robert Alley, J.C. Williams, Dr. Igor Burtsev from Russia, Russell Accord from Expedition Bigfoot is going to be there doing a talk as well. Shane Corson, Tom Seawood, who's been a guest on Sasquatch Chronicles several times, and a very fascinating speaker. And special guest, of course, Bob Gimlin.
The Bob
Gimlin of the Patterson-Gimlin film, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be presenting there as well. So it's going to be a hell of an event.
Wait, you forgot something.
What else?
We're going to be there.
Oh, we're going to be there, of course.
Of course, we're not going to be speaking.
I led in with that, though. That was the lead-in. So I was headlining us, Don. It's our show. We can do that. Okay. But it's a great opportunity. I'll put this link in the show chat if you want to take advantage of it.
Yes.
Here's the thing. I'm really, really, really excited to go to this, and not only because they got all these amazing people going to be there, and that stands on its own, but I've always really, really wanted to meet and listen to Bob Gimlin talk.
This is one of his bucket list items.
Yeah, it's one of my bucket list items for sure, and what an amazing opportunity. But and quite frankly, Bob's not doing speaking events outside of the state anymore. Right. So this is one of the few remaining times that it's going to be possible to see Bob speak. And so I think that if you are at all interested in this, it's definitely one to take advantage of. Let me put it in the chat so you guys can have an opportunity. But literally, sorry I'm saying so much, but there it is. Here it comes. Here's the link for those of you that might be interested. And what an amazing opportunity to at least say that you've seen him talk and you've heard his story firsthand. Right. I think it's amazing.
You know what else you could do is you could tune in to watch Don fall off the stage because he tripped on his mic cord.
It hasn't happened yet, but it might.
Well,
Oh, yeah. Well, you're cursing yourself. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure to make mention of that, folks, because what a great opportunity to see that live. And if you can't be there in person, at least you can see and be a part of the event. Now, even if you're going and didn't get speaking tickets, you could do the streaming and enjoy all of the speakers as well as the entire event. So it's a win-win, of course. And, of course, we'll be streaming from there as much as possible, letting you guys know what's going on. So please keep an eye on our YouTube channel over the weekend because there's going to be a lot to check out. And we're going to do everything we can to get out and meet and greet people and to talk to people that are there at the event and talk to the presenters as much as we can.
Yep.
So we're really excited about this opportunity and really excited to be a part of it. So definitely check it out if you can at all. I'm sure that a lot of you guys out there, would be interested in this because I know we have a very big Bigfoot audience.
It's going to be a really big show.
It's going to be a big show. All right, let's get to the news, Don.
News.
You ready for the news?
The news.
Here we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Paranormal Portal News Network. And I'm your host, Brent Thomas. I'm here to speak to you about the paranormal news and just the news in general. Because there's some stuff that I've got pulled up that maybe isn't so paranormal, but It's not normal. So, I don't know. I crack myself up. If nobody else laughs, it's okay because I'm having a good time either way. The first article I've got ready to go here is one from, of course, unexplained-mysteries.com. Check out this site, guys. It's a great site to just catch little news blurbs here and there. But here's the first one on our roster tonight is a real interesting article. Crowds gather to see mango with a human face.
Oh my good gosh.
That's right, folks. Crowds gathered to see the mango with a human face. It's a particular spectacle in the form of an oddly shaped mango has recently been generating interest in Kenya. That's like, finding Jesus on your toast and people lining up around your house to touch your toaster or something.
Don't touch my toast.
A particular spectacle in the form of an oddly shaped mango has recently been generating interest in Kenya, the phenomenon which became big news among the residents of the small village of what? Kitui. Sorry. I really got to get some readers. Oh, Don. Thank you. Thank you anyway, but no, I didn't sneeze. It's called Kitui and started when someone noticed a mango on a nearby tree happened to have a human-like face. Before long, word had gotten around, resulting in hundreds of people turning out to see it. Footage that was later posted online showed the level of interest the unusual fruit had managed to elicit. The crowds of people queuing up in an attempt to get close enough to take photographs.
Wow.
Must not be a lot to do in Kenya, I'm thinking.
I was watching fruit grow.
The mango
marathons.
Yeah. The mango itself doesn't seem particularly remarkable, although it does at least have a face of sorts. Some social media users expressed puzzlement at the spectacle, while others were quick to dismiss the entire thing as little more than a case of pareidolia.
No way.
Yep, exactly. What will be done with the mango once it is picked, however, remains unclear.
Oh.
I'm betting somebody's going to cast it, I don't know whose video this is, but let me do this, and we'll just turn down the sound. But
my goodness.
There's the crowds, folks, of people that are there to check out the mango. It does look like a shrunken head on a stick, though, doesn't it?
It's a head on a stick.
It does look kind of creepy, like the old headhunter videos where they'd shrink the heads down to, apple size.
What Harry Potter was it when he was on the bus?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, there you have it. That's pretty interesting. I don't know. Do you think that that's supernatural? Probably not, but it's definitely weird. And we like the weird here, folks.
Wow.
What do you think of that, Don?
Wow, that's tasty.
Would you just eat it?
Oh, mango chutney.
I don't know what that is.
Mango chutney?
I have no idea.
Oh yeah, baby.
I'm not sure what chutney is.
It's good.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Do you ever think you should have been a chef or something?
You do know I have I have 2 degrees. One is in law enforcement. The other is in culinary arts.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I had no idea. Don, you've been holding out all this time. You could have been the Paranormal Portal chef. You could have been catering these shows.
I thought we were doing. I get yelled at every time I do food porn.
No, it's okay if I'm eating it.
Oh,
if I'm eating it, then it's
gotcha.
great. If I'm not eating it, I'm just getting hungry and irritated.
Ethan says its name is Tango Mango on a stick.
Tango mango on a stick. Well, there it is. That's number 1. Number 2 is more having to do with the extraterrestrials. Our nearby cosmic neighbors, maybe. I don't know. Here's the opinion of an astronomer.
Here's an opinion.
Well, it's according to an astronomer.
Oh,
or at least maybe some astronomers.
He has a better degree than I do.
Yeah. It says from unexplainedmysteries.com. Again, comes contacting ET is reckless, say astronomers. A group of astronomers have warned of the potential dangers of trying to contact intelligent extraterrestrials. Most people involved in the search for signs of intelligent alien civilizations tend to assume that these advanced spacefarers are benign and that they are interested only in peaceful coexistence. There are some, however, who hold the opposite view. Writing in a recent op-ed for Washington Post, physicist Mark Buchanan has warned that making contact with aliens could be comparable to the first Europeans making contact with the indigenous Americans. Chances are we should all be grateful that we don't yet have the evidence of contact with alien civilizations, he wrote. Attempting to communicate with extraterrestrials, if they do exist, could be extremely dangerous for us. SETI astronomer Joe Gertz also agreed, noting that attempts to communicate with aliens could cause the reckless endangerment of all mankind. I think we're doing just fine on our own as far as endangerment, reckless endangerment is concerned, and be absolutely proscribed with criminal consequences, presumably as exercised at the national level or administered through the International Court of Justice in The Hague. On the other side of the argument, meanwhile, is American astrobiologist Douglas Vakoch, who believes that if we don't attempt to contact extraterrestrials, we risk missing guidance that could enhance our own civilization's sustainability. Ultimately, it all comes down to whether or not aliens we do contact happen to be peaceful. Is it worth the risk? You decide. I think here's the thing: if there really is advanced as we believe they are, then I would hope that through the use of their technology and through their evolution, their technological evolution, that they would at least be decent to each other. Like they've already figured out how to have a peaceful society, and now they're exploring the cosmos. I suppose it's possible that there's some kind of Darth Vader or Dark Helmet out there cruising the galaxy looking to conquest or some what's the guy from the Marvel movies that destroyed everything? Thanos. Some kind of Thanos thing out there maybe. But they could just be, I see I'm of the belief that they've probably been stopping in every once in a while anyway. As the Navy videos and the Pentagon videos would tell us. That we're seeing them anyway. It's like they know we're here, right, Don?
We've gone to Plaid.
Right.
Here's what I think about this. I think first of all, let's consider the show we did way back when. It was April 1st of 2017. It was entitled the Eisenhower Accords, and it was talking about how Eisenhower disappeared for like 3-4 days, 5 days,
right.
And but it was hypothesized, and there's been words put forth that say he met with aliens, specifically Mr. Thor Valiant Thor. Anyhow, so and we've got all this evidence, or this potential evidence of alleged evidence, whatever you want to say, of previous societies having contact with alien civilizations,
alien astronauts.
And so the whole idea is, they've already contacted us.
Sure,
they've already been here.
The wow signal.
Yeah, maybe. The wow signal. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I pulled up this Mexican cave contains signs of human visitors from 30,000 years ago.
Wow.
Maybe we'll get to that later. But
yeah.
So yeah, they've already been here, in my opinion. Obviously, Paul Hellyer says they're on the moon, so
Right. Yeah, he says a lot of things though, Paul Hellyer.
Well, yeah. And then you got the whole breakaway space. But here's another thing though. Think about this. Of course, they're going to be. They have to be traveling. Parsecs. To transverse a light year is like wow. So if they're coming this way, well, their civilization figured it out. So there you have it.
There you have it. According to the beard, ladies and gentlemen. That's probably very true. I don't know. I just think that's hopefully. Here's the thing: we're already screwing ourselves.
Yeah,
we're doing a bang up job of screwing ourselves in a lot of ways. So, what's the worst they could do?
They just finish the job.
Yeah. Either they make quicker work of what's going on, or they help us turn it around.
Let's
either
see.
way.
Do we use a mop sauce or do we use a dry rub?
I don't know. Whatever you want. Whatever you want, Culinary Don. I'm just telling you. What do you call a chef anyway? Just Chef Don? I guess just Chef Don, right? Okay. All right, let's move along.
Shadon. C-H-E-Z.
I don't even know what that means either. All right, here's another one. Now, this is interesting because this is kind of an archaeological find as well, but I thought it was unusual.
Oh.
So this is from unexplained-mysteries.com again, and it says, mystery of girl buried with a bird in her mouth.
What?
A young girl buried in European caves centuries ago was discovered with the head of a finch in her mouth.
Wow.
This perplexing archaeological mystery, which concerns the burial first discovered in Poland's tunnel Wielkie Cave, Wielkie, W-I-E-L, Wielkie, in the 1960s by archaeologist Waldemar Chmielewski, has only recently come to light. According to new radiocarbon dating techniques, she died around 300 years ago. However, the peculiar circumstances surrounding her burial have left experts scratching their heads. For one thing, Europeans had stopped burying their dead in caves long before this point. While the discovery of a bird's head inside the girl's mouth makes this burial unlike any other previous seen in Europe from this time period, cave burials in general, absent from historical periods in Europe, researchers write, are generally absent. Consequently, the discovery of a post-medieval inhumation, of a child buried with at least one bird head placed in the mouth in Tunnel Wielkie Cave is an exceptional find. A closer investigation of the skeleton has since revealed that the girl was around 10 to 12 years of age when she died. It is also thought that she may have suffered from some form of metabolic disease. There was, however, no indication of exactly what had killed her. Among many cultures, the souls of children have also been conceived in the form of small birds. The researchers wrote, nevertheless, in the period in question, birds were never deposited into graves, let alone being placed in the mouth of the deceased. The riddle of the unique child burial from Tunnel Wielkie Cave cannot be fully explained. What if she died choking on a bird head? What if she did an Aussie?
Oh, God.
and then maybe it was lodged in her throat, and they're like, I don't know, she's not breathing. Let's bury her in the cave.
Oh, God,
I don't know.
Shut up, Don. Shut up, Don.
Okay. Don's breaking up. He's cracking up over there, folks. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? What if it got lodged in her throat and somehow, somehow through the decomposition process, did it come back up into her mouth where it's remained until her remains were found? I don't know. Or wouldn't that be like 300 years ago? It would be back during the witch trials times. Could that have something to do with it?
300 years ago was 1700s.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if that was, maybe she's a witch and that's why they buried her in a cave instead of in a sanctified grave.
They were waiting for 3 days.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You never know. I don't know. That is curious though. But I as I was reading it, I was wondering, could she have choked on that? What if she was just a silly kid and she bit off a head off a bird for a challenge or something and ended up dying? I don't know. And what if it did get lodged in her throat and then as the decomposition happened, the escaping gases pushed it back up into her mouth?
Yeah.
And I'm serious. That just came to me. I don't know. It's kind of a weird idea, but it really just seriously came to my head as I was reading that. I was like, oh no, she choked on it.
Chicken head.
I don't know. Just saying, folks. But strange all the way around. Nevertheless, strange all the way around. All right, let's get to the next one. That is weird though, right? Did I tell you some weird stories? I'm telling you. All right, let's get to the next one here. Let me close this first. Those ads pop up sometimes. All right, this one is from unexplained-mysteries.com, and this is also having to do with aliens. Alien abduction sign shows up in England, and I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but I saw it on a I think it was on a Reddit post or something else, or some compilation video. Yeah. But it said a sign chastising a local council for not stopping alien abductions has appeared in the West Midlands. There are still a surprising number of people who believe they have, at some stage of their lives, encountered beings from another world. The traditional abduction experience usually involves a person being taken from their home, subjected to medical experiments, and then returned with their memories of the encounter distorted or erased. Now, according to a strange sign that has recently appeared in Sedgley, England, It seems that, for at least someone at least, alien abduction still appears to be a pressing concern. 3 alien abductions here in 1 week, the sign reads in black stenciled writing. Oddly, it even goes so far as to blame the local authorities for adding, when are the council going to do something? As things stand, nobody seems to know who put the sign there, who the 3 alleged abductees are, or what the sign's creator believes the council could do about it anyway. There is something definitely going on with UFO activity in the West Midlands, but no one would ever go on the record to confirm that, said a local councillor. But as for alien abductions in Sedgley, not so sure about that. Here's the sign for any of you curious people. That's from UFO Chronicles podcast, posted that on Twitter. Very cool. 3 alien abductions here in 1 week. When are the city council or the council going to do something? Wow. Yeah, I don't know what they would do.
Yeah, exactly. Let's put armed guards at every
Let's put
doorway.
up signs for the aliens. They'll know.
No parking.
No more abducting.
No parking on grass, please.
Got the circle with the slash through it, and then the stenciled UFO sucking a person up. Yep. No. I don't know, folks.
No.
It's hard to say, but you heard it here. And
We don't know why.
congrats to UFO Chronicles podcast for posting that. That's really cool. All right. Am I on the right page here? Yeah. Okay. And I've got one.
Yeah, ban abductions. That'll do it.
Oh, yeah, they're banned now. Sorry, aliens. The
Nope.
abductions are now banned.
Nope, that's right. No,
That's-
you can't be here anymore.
That's illegal. Sorry. Got to move on. Stick to cows.
I don't know how it's any different than kidnapping, but you know, whatever. The HOA. Should approach the HOA. Thank you, Jordan. Yeah.
All right. Again, from unexplained-mysteries.com comes woman finds creepy drawing hidden in kitchen.
Oh.
Yes. It says a woman who had been looking for her cat found a mysterious hole with a strange drawing hidden inside it. Sometimes you never know what you're going to find, even inside your own home. As one woman recently found out after peering inside a hole in her kitchen that her kitten had crawled into. In a new video, the woman, who goes by the name of Angelica on TikTok, explained that she and her boyfriend had recently adopted a new kitten that turned out to be very good at hiding. While searching for the elusive feline one day, they discovered a hole in the bottom of one of the kitchen units. Upon shining a torch inside, they found a strange hand-drawn note stuck to the wall. Consisting of a series of lines and symbols, the note was later found to be covering a hole which seemingly led to the wall behind the bathroom, where parts of the bath's interior could be seen. A piece of cardboard and an old 7-Eleven cup were found stuffed inside the crevice. As things stand, no explanation for the peculiar symbols has been found. You can check out a clip showing the note's location below. But there's the note. I'm just looking at that to see if any of that looks like it makes sense.
Yeah, I was kind of seeing it like
I don't recognize any of those symbols at all.
child stylized letters.
Yeah, probably. But it's weird that the hole would allow you to look into the bathroom. Yeah, that's strange. I don't think we're going to look at the video because I don't have the permission of whomever did it. But very cool. Very weird, very cool. But that's another one of those fun finds on the Paranormal Portal news. And finally, one more. This one is kind of a follow-up to another story that we covered a while ago on the news. And it was that there was believed to be directed energy attacks against people in the White House. And there were people that believe that there are directed energy weapons that can, they can start fires or they can cause people problems and, at a lower frequency or whatever. I don't know. I don't know any of the specifics behind it. I'm just aware of people having that opinion. I don't even know what to think about it. But at any rate, mysterious attacks more common than realized. Directed energy attacks, or Havana syndrome, are far more widespread than had been previously reported. The mysterious condition, which causes a range of symptoms such as fatigue, headaches, and nausea, is named after a spate of such incidents which began in Havana, Cuba back in 2016. At the time, it was believed that U.S. diplomats were being targeted by some sort of directed energy weapon by unknown foreign agents with the goal of disrupting diplomatic ties within the country. Now, according to officials, the symptoms of these perplexing attacks have been experienced by as many as 130 individuals, making it far more widespread than anyone had realized. The victims include spies, diplomats, soldiers, and other U.S. personnel, both at home and abroad. 3 CIA officers have been targeted since December 2020, with the most recent occurring just 2 weeks ago. In each case, the victim was required to undergo treatment to help them recover. Another case, this time from 2019, has also come to light. It involved a military officer who was serving overseas when he was overwhelmed by nausea and headaches after stopping briefly at an intersection. His 2-year-old son, who was in the back, also started to cry. After they pulled away, the symptoms immediately ceased. Both Trump and Biden administrations have ordered investigations into the phenomena. Some Pentagon officials suspect Russia is to blame. However, this remains unconfirmed. As of now, we have no definitive information about the causes of these incidents, and it is premature and irresponsible to speculate, said Amanda J. Schuch, the spokeswoman for the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Wow. I don't know. I mean, how common are these things, you know? I don't know that this is an actual depiction of what a directed energy weapon would look like, but what if it is? I don't know.
Right.
That's really creepy. That's creepy to think that somebody could be somewhere in the neighborhood and just direct a beam of something at you,
Right.
and screw up you and your family and cause real long-term problems. That's horrible. But, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, we already covered that one. Yeah, it's a statue of Sasquatch.
Oh, okay.
We covered that one, but that's the news, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this installment of the Paranormal Portal News.
The news.
It's time to move into our regularly scheduled program. There you go, Don. Did you enjoy the news?
I always enjoy the news.
You always
It's
do.
always fun.
You're an enjoyable kind of guy.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, of course. Let's see. I'm just trying to get things resettled here. All right. Before we dive back into the weird, wonderful world of the paranormal, again, the news isn't always paranormal, but it's always bizarre. And those are the stories I like because, gets people talking.
YTFP Chris says, wear Jiffy Pop as a hat. And if it pops, you know something's up.
That's a great idea. All of a sudden your hat grows. Ooh, get inside. Yeah, I don't know what directed energy is. Is that microwaves or what other?
Well, it could be noise. It could be microwaves. Normally,
sure.
I guess it would be microwaves, but
Yeah.
So sonic weapons.
Have you ever felt microwaves?
No.
Okay, I can tell you a
I've
story.
tasted them.
What?
No, when you microwave food, you can't taste it in your food. Stop
No.
microwaving your food.
I didn't know that. No, mine just gets anything I microwave is like already pre-cooked.
Yeah.
But
Now it's really cooked.
yeah, it gets a little more cooked. But I did have experience once of feeling what microwaves feel like, at least from a cooking standpoint, and they hurt. So I was at my job at the time, and they had this old microwave there.
Oh boy.
And everybody used it all the time, but I was really hungry, so I quick microwaved up some food, and it got done. It was like 1:30 or whatever, and it dinged. So I grabbed the door and opened it, and I realized it was still running. I reached in my hand, and all of a sudden it was like there was fire on every
Wow.
pore of my skin.
Wow.
I was like, I pulled it on my hand, and I was like, that microwave sucks. So I didn't use that microwave ever again, and I'm not sure how much longer it remained there, but yeah,
Wow.
I was like every cell in my hand just started screaming like So it's a horrible thing. I can't imagine that would be a good way to go.
No.
No, that would be
Cooked
like
from the inside.
instant searing pain everywhere. So anyway, that's my microwave experience, but I don't know how this directed energy thing works. It sounds like it more targets the neurological processes or something, because it gives instant headaches and nausea is what people are reporting.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't feel that burning, apparently. But maybe it's the brain that's burning. I don't know. Okay, we got some paranormal goodness here in the form of some articles that we've been working through. And let me get to the first one here. I'm trying to figure out where we are. All right, here it is. This is an article on factinate.com we've been going through. Unsettling experiences and it's written by Stephen Y. of, I guess he's a writer at Factinate. And this has been a good article so far. We've gone through the other 12. We've got a long ways to go. As you can see, the thing is still up here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they got huge articles. And I think they're just mostly compilations of Reddit stories and stuff,
Right.
but interesting nonetheless. All right. So as we progress on this article, we were on number 13. And this story goes right around before Christmas. Me and my significant other were both home and just doing our own things when I went to the kitchen to grab something to drink. It was already dark outside, so I flipped the light switch to turn the lights on, but accidentally hit it again as I was lowering my hand, which turned the lights off. So naturally, I tried turning the light back on, but it didn't go back on, so I figured the light bulb fried and thought nothing of it. I hollered to my significant other that when she comes back from meeting a friend, she could drop by a store to get a new light bulb. She couldn't hear me properly since there's a hallway between the kitchen and the living room, so she came to me, and after I told her to get a new bulb, she asked which light bulb I'm talking about. And I was pretty confused about why she would ask me that, since we only have one light source in the kitchen, if you exclude the fridge. I told her I'm talking about the lamp, of course, to which she replied, "Why do we need a new one? It's working fine." For her, the light was perfectly fine, and the kitchen was lit. To me, the light was off, and everything was dark. I told her that the light's off, and it's obviously dark in here, which was the point she started looking at me strangely, as if I'd gone a bit insane. She then flipped the light switch on and off repeatedly for me. Nothing changed, but she told me it's working fine and asked me how I couldn't possibly see it turning on and off. At that point, I was confident she was just trying to mess with my head and told her to stop playing jokes and just get a new light bulb. And she kept arguing back that the lamp works fine. I was still sure she was trying to mess with me, just to a greater extent than I'd thought. So I said, "All right, I'll take my phone out and take 2 pictures, one when the light is off and one when it's on for you. If I get one picture where the light is on, when you say it's on, I'll agree to anything you want from me for the entire week."
Oh.
Ooh, bad idea. By then, she started looking a bit more freaked out, but agreed to it. Anyway, so I took the first photo when the light was off, and then she flipped the switch. I took another, and immediately noticed the thumbnail in the phone's camera, and the iPhone's camera app, that shows the latest photo and that it was bright. I opened the photo, and the light was on, even though I'm still seeing nothing at that very moment. We tried it again a couple of times, and each time produced the same result. For her, everything was the way it was supposed to be, and for me, the light was constantly off. She was now completely freaked out and insisted I call an ambulance or a psychiatric helpline, and kept asking me how I feel, if anything else seems off, etc. Although I felt completely normal other than being completely stunned by what had just happened. I did question my own sanity for a bit, but dismissed it once I realized this was just one thing that was wrong and everything else was completely normal. I felt completely normal. I have no idea what to think of this. We were both right there talking to each other, but one detail was different for the two of us.
Wow.
That's strange. That's really weird, right?
Yeah, that is crazy.
How would he not perceive the light in his environment,
Right.
but in the camera he could see that it was lit? That's really, really weird. Is that like a dimensional thing? Like he shifted a little bit and couldn't perceive the light?
That's a weird one.
I know. I don't know what to do with that. That's very, very strange. You guys will have to let me know what you think there in the chat of stuff like that. That's a one-off for me, folks. I've never heard of anything like that. Now, I will say that in haunting situations, one person can hear a disembodied voice and when another person right next to them doesn't hear a thing, which I've always attributed to being more telepathic, some kind of telepathically induced, what's the word I'm looking for? Illusion. But, you know, and of course, seeing a ghost, one person will see them, other people won't. And it seems very individualized, but maybe it's some kind of haunting thing. I don't know. It's very, very weird though.
Strange, definitely.
Right.
Yep.
That was by I_glitched.
I glitched.
I glitched. That is weird. All right, number 14 is a road trip of horrors. Ooh, that sounds bad, huh, Don?
Yes.
My family and I were on a trip from Mexico City to Acapulco, and suddenly during the middle of the night, the car broke down, and a squad car quickly came to our help. There were 3 officers in the car, and the chief offered to take me to the nearest gas station where I could find a mechanic, and told the other 2 officers to stay with our car. They seemed absolutely not pleased with the order, but until the chief told them, "Don't worry, there's a woman and 2 children," and that seemed to calm the 2 officers. While driving to the gas station in the squad car, I asked the chief what that was all about, but I wasn't prepared for his answer. The chief told me that there had been many accidents in that part of the road, but it wasn't just that. All the accidents involved young men traveling without a female or child. Those who had survived said that they crashed because they could see a very beautiful woman next to the road, but once they came closer to her, she turned out to be just a rotting corpse.
Wow.
Staring at them, and they crashed because they were paralyzed by fear.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Rotting corpse.
That ghost did not like men.
No.
But wouldn't do that around women and children, apparently. Wow, that's very creepy. Number 15, the parking garage. My friend was once walking through a parking garage late at night when she noticed a man in a gray hoodie lying at awkward angles in the middle of the road. He croaked out for help and begged to be driven to the hospital. My friend saw that he had a grisly head wound and decided to be a good Samaritan, and she helped him into her car and offered to put his bag into her trunk, and he didn't respond, so she just put it at his feet in the passenger seat. Even though she was nervous, she got in the car and started driving, but after about 5 minutes, she noticed something very, very wrong. The blood peeling off of his face. He wasn't bleeding at all. It looked like he'd applied some kind of makeup. She immediately freaked out, but on the surface, she kept her cool. She slowed to a stop sign and asked the man to check her back tire because she thought the car was uneven. The minute the man got out of the car, she screeched off. She drove to the authorities, and they examined the car. The man's black bag contained a butcher's knife and a garbage bag. The man was never caught.
Wow.
Oh, dear God.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's not necessarily paranormal, but that's all kinds of not normal. Oof. That's absolutely scary. I mean, what kind of world do we live in where you got to check and make sure the wounds are real?
How can they not catch the guy?
I don't know.
I mean, they've got all the fingerprints on the butcher knife and the garbage bag.
Yeah, but a fingerprint is only good if you've got a matching entry somewhere.
Oh, that's true. But I mean,
otherwise it's just another
once
fingerprint.
a criminal, always a criminal. You know that. Well, okay, no, that's unfair. That was very unfair. Yeah. I take that back. But somebody who's carrying something like that doesn't have good intent.
No, well, of course
probably
not.
has had other things pop up in their life before.
Yeah, you'd think. You might have a lot of dead kittens and stuff around, but it might be a progression of events. Number 16, blink and you'll miss it. 8 years ago, I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment by myself with 2 cats. I had a girlfriend, who I'll name Elsa for the story,
Elsa.
who lived 45 minutes away on her college campus. Most weekends she would drive into town and stay at my place until she had class again on Monday. We did regular things as we didn't get to see much of each other. So here's the scene. It's Saturday night, 11 p.m. Elsa and I are sitting on the couch watching a movie. I can't remember which, and we're dressed sober and alert, as we slept in that morning and had plenty of sleep. We're chatting, laughing, and talking. The TV is illuminating our immediate area, and I kept the light on in the kitchen to provide some ambient light for the living room as well. My cats are asleep in their favorite chair. All is well. Everybody is safe and comfortable. Suddenly, without any kind of warning or inkling, the jump happened. You know when you're watching dialogue in a movie and they're using 2 cameras to film? And when they switch from camera to camera to capture the one speaking, it's seamless with no clipping, interruption, fading, or transition effects. It was that sudden. We were having a good time together in the living room when in an instant, I found myself sitting on the foot of my bed, clothes removed in the dark. For about 1/2 a second, a million thoughts entered my mind. Had something fallen off the wall and hit my head? Did I have a seizure? Was I dreaming the whole time? Where is Elsa? Then the scary part. I turned to my right, and Elsa is also sitting on the foot of the bed next to me, clothes removed, her eyes are the size of golf balls, and she's trembling. I realize I am as well. I try to speak and ask her if something happened, but I'm so frightened, I only stutter. After looking around the room and realizing we are alive, she managed to ask me what happened. I didn't want to answer in case it was just me, and I didn't want to come off as nuts. I just looked at her. After a pause, she started asking me again if I had turned off the lights or removed our clothes, or if I knew what was going on. I didn't. Neither of us had experienced grogginess or confusion before the event. Furthermore, we didn't experience any sensations other than fear and confusion after it. No aches or pains, bumps or bruises or cuts. I reached for my phone to call my mom and see if a doctor would be appropriate. I noticed it's not 11 p.m. anymore. It's now 3 a.m. In that sudden instant, that instantaneous change of scene, 4 hours had passed. Everything in the house had been turned off, and we'd been stripped. We went to the ER, and as my mom's fear was a gas leak, no signs of toxins or injury were found on either of us. Elsa made an appointment for a CAT scan, which also came back as expected. I explored possibilities like a gas leak, poison consumer goods like our soda, or fast food, neurological malfunctions, and more.
Wow.
But the one thing that always bothered me was the fact that Elsa and I lost and acquired the time at the exact same instance, 4 hours apart. Neither of us witnessed anything that the other didn't. And there were no lingering effects. For weeks, I kept bringing it up with her, just hoping one of us would remember something. I browsed forums of all types of sites, searching for answers. Every time I brought it up, Elsa would get scared at the memory and beg me just to let it go. I couldn't. I'm no writer, so I'm sure I left out some things out that would have been helpful in understanding the magnitude and surrealism of this event and how it affected Elsa and I. Somebody tell me what happened to me. To the MUN moon and back. Yeah, that sounds like an abduction ceremony or situation, doesn't it?
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of a textbook abduction kind of situation. It's like you're just fine, blah, 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 and boom. I mean, a lot of times people experience it as they're sleeping, but
Right.
I don't know. That's horrifying. I couldn't imagine. That's the part I have trouble with is what the hell is going on? Who gave them that right?
Right?
Yeah, and it could be the Eisenhower Accords, but I don't know.
The Greada.
The Greada Treaty? Yeah, maybe. That is terrifying, though. All right, number 17, The Road to Nowhere. When I was 19, I owned a car.
Cool.
I haven't driven since because I never want to go through that ordeal ever again. I was driving at night trying to get home from a friend's place. My friend lived out in the country, so I had to take a backcountry roads home. I was never a proficient night driver, so when I got lost, I wasn't surprised. I tried bringing up Google Maps, but I didn't have my 3G coverage out there. I decided that I was probably going in the wrong direction, just a gut feeling, so I got out of the car to look around. At the time, it was May, but when I got out, it was freezing cold.
Wow.
The weather had been mild all week. Even at night, it was brisk at the worst. The second I stepped out of the car, though, I knew everything was wrong. Not only was it unimaginably cold for that time of year, but the forest that was below the hill to my car was gone. It had been there just moments before I stepped out, but now there were 4 large houses where the patch of trees had been. The houses didn't look like houses I was used to seeing in the area. They had domed roofs and a skylight in the middle and what looked like elongated entryways at the front. Kind of like your classic igloo. Well, I started to panic and called my dad, but the call went nowhere. I had forgotten that I had lost coverage, and then I heard a voice below me. I looked down at the houses, and a small floodlight had been turned on in one of the front lawns of the houses. This guy was standing outside with a dog, and he was talking to the dog in his language that I had never heard before. I'm no linguist, and I couldn't hear him very well, but I swear it sounded practically alien. Lots of elongated vowels and chirping, for lack of a better word. Well, I was dumbfounded, freaking out. At that point, I was considering throwing myself off of that hill to hit my head and wake up back in my car. I was fully awake, though, freezing and panicked. I rushed back into my car and drove for another few minutes before passing by another car. That car was totally not the kind of car that we see today. There was a weird symbol on the windshield and lights accented the chassis. It had no outboard mirrors and didn't make a normal sound as it passed by. I can't even describe the sound that it did make. Not a whoosh like normal cars. It was almost like a slithering. I think the driver noticed that my car was super different too, because as I instinctively slowed down to get a better look, so did the strange car. That was it for me. I stopped at the side of the road just a few seconds after it had passed and took a lot of deep breaths. I turned off my car and sat for a long time, but eventually worked up the nerve to get out of the car again. This time, it was barely cool out, and I could recognize my surroundings. I was a 20-minute drive away from my house. I walked down the road a ways, around a bend and another small hill, and could see a familiar billboard out in the distance. The problem was that I was way too afraid if I got back in my car, things would change again, so I was determined to stay outside. I thought, just to be safe, I'll open the car door and grab the flashlight I keep in the driver's side door compartment. I walked back down the hill, around the bend, and the car wasn't there. It occurred to me that after I shut the door, I hadn't looked back at all. So maybe I had just forgotten its position. I kept walking back, but nope, no car. I checked my phone, and it had been hours now since I left, and my parents were surely in bed asleep. So I called my friend, and he picked me up on the road. I told him some made-up story about how the car had crapped out on the roads going through the woods on a different, longer route back to the house. I was getting scared in the woods, so I decided to hoof it home, gave up by the time my folks had gone to bed, so I had to call him. He laughed at my misfortune and apparent stupidity and said he'd help me look for the car the next day. I led my dad and him on a wild goose chase for that car for the majority of the next day, before my dad gave up and said it must have been stolen and reported it. To this day, the car hasn't been found because, as far as I know, it's on the side of the road in what I firmly believe to be an alternate dimension, a parallel universe, or what have you. Mm-hmm. And it says, my twin is a throwaway. That's who submitted that. My twin is a throwaway. Wow.
That's interesting. You know, you get out of the car and all of a sudden it just disappears.
Yeah, those are those weird stories. And granted, we don't know whether this is at all factual or just some musing of a bored mind. But if it is real, it certainly isn't unusual in other stories that we've heard where people just turn a corner and boom, they're suddenly somewhere else. Right. And people in the forest see a weird archway and walk through it, and suddenly they're somewhere else. And then they backtrack back and they're where they should be. And, you know, that's a strange kind of, maybe a dimensional anomaly, maybe a time-space anomaly. I don't know what to make of those things, but very, very weird. Mm-hmm. You only wish this guy had a camera on his cell phone and could take pictures of like those weird houses and stuff, you know? Right. I mean, that was an opportunity to at least grab some kind of proof. But anyway, let's go to 18. Anything in the chat, if you guys want to pipe in and be a part of the conversation, just please, either do it in all capital letters so Don will see it, or do at Paranormal Portal. And, we'll try to, and we will answer your questions or read your comment aloud on the show.
Or maybe just heckle at you.
And maybe we'll just ignore it. No, I'm just kidding. We would never knowingly ignore anything you guys write. All right. Number 18, Dine with the Devil. We used to own a racetrack in Ohio years ago, but we lived in southeast Pennsylvania. You had to take the turnpike to get there in any reasonable amount of time, and one of the times my mother, my sister, and I were together to go meet my stepdad, who was driving separately with a trailer to haul equipment. We got off in an exit after paying a toll and headed into a strip mall with a bunch of rinky-dink looking buildings. They had a diner, though, and we hadn't eaten since we left 4 hours before, so we stopped in. The food sucked and was completely tasteless. People stared at us the whole time. What?
No.
Oh, okay. It wasn't dark like a cave, just not a ton of windows. There was some, enough for ambient light, like a Denny's if the power went out, that sort of thing. And an unreasonable number of people we noticed had bandages on them.
Oh,
The only person who said a word to us was the girl who took our order.
the grill.
The girl.
Oh.
Yeah, girl. I don't know. Who also rang us up at the end. We decided not eating was better than going back there. So we wrote down the exit in a little journal we'd been keeping in the glove compartment. So we knew not to make that mistake again. A couple hours later, we get to the track, and my stepdad asks how everything went. We said it was uneventful, but told him we recorded a real whopper for the journal and not to take the exit we'd marked because it was garbage. He gets really excited, and we're all kind of wondering why, and he tells us he thinks we ate ghost food and that the people at the diner were vampires. He wouldn't stop talking about it for like 10 minutes, and it was making my sister uncomfortable.
Okay.
We have the race weekend. It's time to drive all the way back, and he asked me if I want to come with him, since we had to drive alone the way there. And I say, sure. 2 hours in, he pulls off, and I think it's weird because we ate a gigantic breakfast before we left, and I didn't recognize it at first coming from the other direction, but eventually, it occurs to me he's going to the diner's exit. He wants to see it for himself, and he stops to pay the toll, doesn't mention our story, but asks if there's a diner at the exit to make sure he has the right one. The guy's answer was chilling. He says there was one, but it burned down. Okay, so they weren't vampires, but what a coincidence. We just ate there, and then right after, in the span of 2.5 weeks, they have a freak accident?
2.5 days.
Or 2.5 days. Sorry, 2.5 days. This almost intrigues him more than the supernatural bit, and I am 100% on board for checking it out. We drive over, same humdrum strip mall, except where we went to eat. It's just a charred mess. No vehicles, no tape, and they'd cleaned the area around it well. We go back to the turnpike, and these poor toll guys are stuck in a booth hardly bigger than they are, so it's the same dude we talked to before. Anyway, my stepdad's like, I thought you said there was a diner there. Guy says there was. Like I told you, burned down. He asked if they'd figured out what caused it. Was it a grease fire or what? That kind of thing. And the guy says, yet? ? Yeah, it had to have been in the last 2 or 3 days. They didn't investigate it? It wasn't on the news? Then the guy says, oh, we know what happened. It was on the news when it happened 8 years ago.
Oh, my.
It sounds ridiculous and cliche, and there are tons of stories like it. I know what I saw. It was the same exit and the same distance from the road, same buildings, save for the one.
Wow.
Real Mr. Gray wrote that.
A ghost cafe.
A ghost diner, yeah, or cafe, yeah.
Wow.
Where everybody was all bandaged up. Yeesh. And the food sucked.
And the food sucked. Why would they be bandaged up, though? I mean,
I don't know.
you would think they'd be more crispy than that.
Oh.
Not like the hash browns.
Oh. All right, folks. The entertainment's free.
Can I get my hash browns a little extra crispy, please?
Then they say, stick around. It'll get crispy in here. All right.
Is it hot in here or is it just me?
Is it hot in here or is it just that fire? Weekend Warriors is next. Number 19. This happened when I was 19. I'm 27 now. At the time, I was still dating my high school boyfriend, and he lived 2 towns away from me, but we spent every weekend together. My best friend Jill had also been friends with Alan, my boyfriend, since middle school, so we were all very close. Jill and I worked together at a medical supply factory, and we would occasionally come up with some great adventures to go on the weekends. This week was no exception. We had made plans to all drive out to Alan's after work on Friday, spend the nights, then get up and go on our adventure, Saturday morning. Friday rolls around, Jill and I get off work and swing by our apartment to pick up our guitars and backpacks for our sleepover. We drive over to Alan's, start cooking up our frozen pizzas, and bust out the guitars and Xbox. We play and talk and eat till around midnight, then decide we should get some sleep for our trip in the AM. Alan had a futon in the living room that Jill slept on, while Alan and I went into his room on the other side of the living room. And we all said goodnight to each other and went to sleep. Saturday morning, I wake up and walk through the living room to go to the bathroom. Jill grumbles good morning at me as I walk past, and I tell her to get up. It's almost 7. We got to get on the road. And we all get ourselves ready to get into Alan's 92 baby blue Ford Taurus. Then it got weird.
Then it got weird.
Yeah, it wasn't weird enough that he has a baby blue Ford Taurus. We back down the driveway, Alan driving, me up front, and Jill sitting behind Alan. When the next thing any of us remember, Jill and I are backing down Alan's driveway in her car, having just returned from our day. It was 6:30 p.m. We're both smiling, but when Jill looked at me, her face fell. She looked me dead in the eyes and asked me what just happened. I took a second for my feeling of euphoria to clear, like I'd just had a really good dream, and then I realized that I couldn't remember where we'd all went after backing down Alan's driveway that morning. So being reasonable, level-headed people, we pulled back into Alan's and went to see what he had to say. We knocked, and when Alan opened the door, we knew he'd had the same reaction as us. He was pale and wide-eyed and just mumbled out "Do you guys remember what just happened?" And none of us did. We sat down and went over the details of the night and morning over and over. We kept crying and having to stop to console each other, but we could not come up with any details past backing down the driveway. Alan remembered going into his house but not driving up to it or parking his car. Jill and I don't remember getting into her car or seeing Alan go inside. Oh, and none of us can recall what the plan for our Saturday adventure was. We know we had a destination and activities planned, but none of us can recall a single detail about what the plan was other than 1, drive to Alan's, 2, spend the night, 3, get up early Saturday. Eventually, we were able to calm ourselves down and just reasoned it must have been an abduction, but it was no big deal. We were all fine. No weird side effects or physical evidence of anything. Stuff like this must happen all the time. I don't know if it happens all the time, but though through the years we've brought it up to each other now and then, just a passing thought of how freaking bizarre it is, and we still can't recall any other details of that day. Part of what bothers me about it is how it's become such a nonchalant topic to bring it up even now, even though it was very traumatizing at the time. We just so willingly fell into calling it our abduction, even though none of us have a clue.
Wow.
That was by Red Rubber Pony.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. See, for me, I don't know if I would ever just be okay with it. Oh, it was just my abduction. Not sure what they did. I'd be doing regressive hypnosis,
No doubt.
hypnotic regression to try to figure out what the hell just happened and what am I not remembering. I don't know. The whole mind wipe thing is just what's freaky. If it's such a great event, why do they wipe your mind? It's like, it must not be a good event. I don't know. That's my 2 cents. What do you think, Don?
That's interesting. It's just like the one about, the guy and the girl, waking up or coming conscious in the bedroom, stripped naked. It's
right.
It's weird. I've never experienced loss like that, time loss like that. So,
sure.
What would I freak out? Yeah, probably. Because I remember the one time when I was younger, I was drinking and blacked out, and it was like, where am I? And then everything was cool because people told me what happened. And it's like, okay, I didn't do anything too weird, but they remember it, and I don't remember it, but that's okay,
Right.
One of those dumb things. Yeah. So those stories kind of freak me out in a way. It's like they have absolutely no idea what happened between this time and that time. And now it's funny because you were talking about, how some of that stuff, how that generally happens at night. Like
right.
The couple, 11 o'clock, they were sitting watching a movie, eating pizza, whatever. And then 3 o'clock in the morning, they're sitting on the end of the bed. Yep. But this one happened all day.
Yeah.
They got up, they were getting ready to go on their adventure, backing out. Boom, they were getting ready to leave. Crazy.
Rachel was talking about the diner, and she says maybe the people there were ghost victims of other disasters and were drawn to the ghost diner because of its unfortunate end. That's a great thought.
That's an interesting one, yeah.
It could be. That could be just, it's kind of like the the Otherworld and Beetlejuice. It's like all these people have different sources, but they all kind of gather at that place to figure out what's next. Yeah, that's a great thought,
That's
Rachel.
interesting, yeah.
It could be. I mean, what the hell do we know? Now, here's the weird part about the abduction stuff too, is that it's just the drop of a hat. Boom.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, it's over. It's not, and I don't know, maybe these people aren't at all sensitive or no empathic or whatever, but I mean, it doesn't seem like they have any indication anything is going to happen at all.
Right.
And then boom, it's over. Everything is already over.
Before this happened.
Yeah, as a person that's had several surgeries, I can tell you, it kind of reminds me of what it's like to have a surgery. Because the one moment you're laying there and they got the IV in, and the next moment you're waking up and everything hurts. And
next moment you're strapped face down on a gurney and you're just slobbering on yourself.
I've never been strapped face down. Not what happened. Not sure what happened on your surgery, Don, but mine was a knee thing.
It was my appendectomy.
Oh, you were face down?
Yeah, they strapped me face down.
I had an appendectomy too, but mine was all face up, as far as I know.
Yeah, I woke up and I was strapped face down on the gurney. I'm like, what the hell? It was just slobber all over my face.
Oh my God! Yeah,
it was horrible. It was horrible.
I had an emergency appendectomy too, and it was really weird because after the surgery, I'm in the room. And of course, I'm really thirsty when you first come to. You're like, You're drinking water like crazy. Well, I'm drinking water and other beverages in the hospital, and I'm drinking over like a period of hours. And I finally called the nurse. I said, I think something's wrong. She said, well, what's wrong? And I said, well, I've been drinking a lot of fluids, and I still don't have to pee. What's going on? And she said, you have a catheter. I'm like, a what?
Wow.
I had no idea. And I'm like, wait a minute, and then it all hits me. It's like, oh yeah, they took care of that, I guess.
He's been probed.
Yeah, I was probed. I didn't even know it. They didn't even have my permission. No, it was weird though. I was really concerned. I'm like, I'm putting all this in and it's not coming out. What's going on? I should really have to go by now. And it's like, nope.
Wow. I've never had a catheter.
Yeah, well, I have.
That I remember, at least.
Yeah, well, there you go.
It must have been fun, them pulling that out.
Oddly enough, I mean, it wasn't painful. It was just like, because there's like a balloon on the end of it or something that keeps it in there.
That's nice.
I'm just telling you. And all I can tell you is when they took it out, it's just like, I felt like this pressure release, like, oh. And then next thing I know is out. It's like, okay, well, not that y'all tuned in, not that you tuned in for that, but welcome to the show.
Strange stories. We're shattering reality.
Yeah, shattered mine. That shattered mine. I was like, you did what? But turns out it was a necessary evil because then later I tried to get out of bed and I was like, oh God, thank God I don't have to run to the bathroom. But anyway, let's continue. All right, number 20, The Eye of the Storm. How are we doing for time? 8:11. Wow. It's already 8:11 done.
Wow, we can bullshit that long?
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know.
We can shoot it for sure. All right, we'll read one more and then we'll hop to something else. Number 20, In the Eye of the Storm. When I was 13, my father and I experienced something that still makes me question reality. Well, that's called Monday to me.
That's called every day. Am I awake?
It happened on a summer afternoon when we made a quick stop home between games from the softball field, not far from my house. My sister and I both made all-star teams throughout our local league, and she was in the middle of a game, so my mom stayed with her while my dad brought me home to change and eat between a doubleheader. The softball field is less than a mile from where we live, so there we reconnected. Sorry if you guys had any mist. I don't know if did you guys experience a mist there?
Did we have a time shift?
Did we have? Yeah, we did a time shift here on the portal. It's been known to happen. Weird things happen in the portal all the time. Did you?
Hi, and we're back, but we're not naked sitting on the bed.
Oh
Wait,
my God!
Where'd the Speedo come from?
Ooh. What's this hose coming out of my pant leg?
Oh God! Why do I not have to pee anymore?
I don't know. I just suddenly no, the urge is gone. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened, but we just got a lag hiccup there. It looks like so. I don't know if you guys noticed it on YouTube.
Aussie said he saw some buffering, but that's it. So,
okay, well, let's continue. This is the boy going home with his dad between a doubleheader to get something to eat. The softball field's about a mile away. So the softball field is less than a mile from where we live, so it would take us a whole 3 minutes to get home. During those 3 minutes, the sky went from sunny to almost no clouds, with almost no clouds, to a very sinister dark gray. We live in Rhode Island, so this is not totally weird, as New England weather changes more than most people change their underwear.
or Speedos.
But I do remember thinking I never saw us drive into a storm cloud or recognizing how it got so dark so fast. It just suddenly was. My dad made a comment about how my second game would probably get postponed because it looked like a serious thunderstorm. Another thing I'll mention was that when we pulled into my street coming home, it was unusually deserted. We live on a dead-end side street and most people had multiple cars. Almost all of our neighbors parked a car on the street in front of their house. We all had unspoken designated spots, and I remember thinking I'd never seen the street so bare when we pulled onto it. I went into the house with my dad, went to the bathroom, changed, grabbed a sandwich. My dad went downstairs to check his work email, and I walked outside by the car to wait for him. It was so dark out at that point because of the cloud cover, it felt pointless to even go back to the field. Well, I was mulling this over while eating my sandwich when I got this insanely ominous feeling. I looked to my left and saw a gigantic tornado coming down the street towards me. I watched as my neighbor's gutter 3 houses down came flying off of their house, and their shingles started to rip off. Living in that area where tornadoes just don't exist, I'm pretty sure I went into pure shock from disbelief.
No doubt.
I was just standing there, and the next thing I remember is my father grabbing me from behind, pulling me into the house while yelling. He rushed me down into the basement, locking the door behind him, and in the next few minutes there was a ton of commotion with him swearing, trying to call my mom's cell phone to warn her and everyone at the ball field while I sat there like an idiot, unable to comprehend what had just happened. When my dad got through to my mom, she told him there was absolutely no storm clouds anywhere she could see, but pulled my sister from the game nonetheless, and told everyone on the 2 teams playing what he called to warn her about. There was confusion in the field, and they stalled the game. My dad told me to wait while he investigated as we heard nothing after entering the basement. After the longest 5 minutes of my life, my dad came back, color completely drained from his face, telling me it was gone and we could come upstairs. When I walked up, I noticed right away the sun was out. I walked outside. There were several cars on the street in their normal spots that weren't there 10 minutes ago. And my neighbor's whole house was completely fine. No local news reports. My neighbors never saw a thing. Even 2 of them claimed they had been home the entire time. This was not a small tornado that we saw. There's no way this thing materialized that quickly and disappeared just as rapidly. My dad still doesn't like talking about it, and even when I get him to, he convinced himself it must have been a freak thing that began and ended on our road. I know he noticed the same things I did, like the cars suddenly being there and our neighbor's house magically repaired. He's not a very open-minded guy, and when I can tell the cognitive dissonance makes him really uncomfortable, so I don't push him too much. But it's obvious he is just as disturbed by the entire thing. It still freaks me out to relive it. It makes me question reality in a serious way.
Oh man,
That's creepy.
Those are just dimensional shifts, you know.
They must be, yeah.
But it's incredible how but after they went to the basement is when they called the mom, and therefore they didn't know if everything was fine by that time. So maybe it just happened at that time when they stepped outside, got back to the basement, and that was that.
See, that's what the dad is saying. That's his cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. But I mean, they both experienced the same thing, so it's definitely a dimension shift. Or
They both
like
really experienced it, yeah. So it wasn't just like one of them, like that other story where the light wasn't on in the kitchen for one of them and it was fine in the other one.
Right.
So this is 2 people experiencing the very same thing.
Stepping outside the reality realities.
That's right. Stepping outside reality. That's what we do here on the portal every day. And even on days we're not broadcasting.
Yeah, true.
It's always funky up in here. But anyway, that's a cool story. All right. I did want to move on to some other things that there's some cryptid stuff that I wanted to touch on. And I'm just looking through these other things. I don't know if, all right, that's a possibility too. So let's go to this one. This is another article where we read one of the stories, and we were on number 2, and this is from ranker.com. What am I on? Oh, I never did go back to the article. Huh. Oh. Sorry, I didn't let you guys read along with us. This is from ranker.com, and this is the graveyard shift section of their site. And this is Encounters with Unexplained Creatures. And it's written by Sarah Blumert, yeah. Blumert. And here you go. This is number 2. They were chased by a long-armed creature. This is from Redditor Screw Audi. They must not like Audi very much. I think they have great cars for what it's worth. But anyway, when I was 13, I was on an ATV with my 2 older sisters, one 15 and the other 18. We were going to my grandma's, which was less than 2 kilometers away from my parents' place. We were traveling through our fields, but on the way I suggested we go around the fence so we didn't have to open the gates. It's pretty much the same path, just a bit off to the side. As we get to the middle of the field, we all notice something sitting on top of the hill we were about to climb. We slowed to a crawl because it looked human. I think we've read this one on the show before. We thought maybe a calf fell and was just stuck, or maybe it was my uncle who looked after the cattle, but this thing was sitting weird, basically like how Spider-Man perches over buildings, crouched down on top of a rock. Now, I want to describe this thing. It was tall, skinny, and wore no clothes, just a body is what we could see, grayish color, and the head wasn't shaped like a human's. It was thin and small. We were about 30 to 40 meters from this thing, and it was during the day, too. As we were sitting there trying to figure out what we were seeing, this thing slowly stood up, and my heart sank. Its arms were long, grossly long. I screamed to stop, and instantly jumped from the front of the ATV to the driver, replacing my sister, and as we were switching, this thing started running at us.
Ooh.
But it was running weird. Its arms were swinging back and forth like a normal runner, but because of how long the arms were, it looked weird. You'd think it would run on the long arms, but it didn't. It was running fast. I turned around and shot off straight forward through the field. My sisters were screaming that it was still coming, but I honestly could not look back at this thing, so I just said, "Don't look at it." We rounded the corner, and that's the last we saw of it. After that corner, it's trails to my parents' house, and as we got home, I crashed the ATV into the deck, trying to get in as fast as we could. We were so scared, my parents actually believed us, and they called all the family to warn if it was a trespasser. They said nobody saw anything or anyone in the fields.
You know, I have a memory of something like that about crashing the ATV, but I don't recall the rest of the story though. But Rake,
Sure, could be.
yeah, you know, when it was describing how it was running, I was thinking of like Alice the Goon from Popeye.
Oh yeah, yeah. Dan Dawson says Wendigo, maybe.
Wendigo,
Yeah, that'd be horrible. You know, Wendigo and Skinwalker are all kind of Seven Pearls is leaving. Take care, Seven Pearls. Thanks for stopping in. But it's Wendigo and Skinwalkers, I think, are my 2 least favorite of all the cryptids. They just, I don't know. The Skinwalkers, I think, are probably some kind of human,
right?
but you know, that an offshoot or something that was corrupted somehow,
Right.
or not, just different. I don't mean to cast aspersions, but well, they do sound creepy. But I've never heard a story where the Skinwalkers
Actually
killed somebody.
Right.
I mean,
well, I don't know. Grandma with the shotgun and a handful of ashes from the...
and the 2-inch bone spur in her shoulder that got placed there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty creepy. But, I don't know. Maybe they're just curious. I don't know. In any case, basically, in all of the Skinwalker stories that we've covered, they seem ominous. They seem to like to terrorize people,
Right.
but they don't seem to do anything like really aggressively attacking people from what I've read. They like to get a rise out of people, and this could be me really misunderstanding the phenomena, but skinwalkers they like to torment people, and they like to really get you to freak out.
Right.
And it's almost as if they feed off of that freaked out energy or something. You know what I mean? But they don't, like, in that story that you're talking about, the thing was looking through the window all the time.
Yeah.
And it was kind of harassing them in the house, but
Right.
it never smashed through the window. It never grabbed anybody. It never came, out when they were leaving the house and attacked them. It just was constantly around the house and getting closer and closer.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe they're not, and I'm not trying to, redefine what a skinwalker is, but maybe they're not as dark, all of them. Maybe. I'm just saying maybe. Number 3 on this list is a large hairless creature stalked his house. A lot of hairless creatures, yeah. This is from Redditor HYGE7071. One morning I was outside with a cup of tea just before dawn. I was thumbing a bowl of tobacco in my pipe when I heard a shuffling towards the pine trees at the edge of my property. Thumbing a bowl of tobacco. God, I haven't heard that for ages.
Time to go.
The back of my house faces the edge of a thick lot of short pine trees, and I see critters run in and out of it all the time, so I assumed the noise was an armadillo or something, but when I looked up, I saw what looked like an obese woman. I know we've read this one before.
I think so.
Yeah, this one is very similar. I guess I got to finish it now, but because it is an interesting story, but again, my apologies, folks. We tend to find the same stories repeated on different sites because I think everybody's going to Reddit to pull stories. So my apologies if this is redundant, but looked like an obese woman with sagging breasts, but her head was kind of like an odd lump on her shoulders. Very small and without hair or features, like a typical head. Well, I immediately knew it wasn't an animal of any sort, and I set my things down on the patio table and called out to her. There was just enough light from the floodlights on my house to see a large bare bottom turn and run away. I could very easily hear the thumping sounds of feet in the pines. A few days later, I stepped out back with a glass of wine to have before bed smoke, and I turned the back lights on and stepped out, and I immediately saw the fat woman again. This time I could see her much better. When the dim light hit her body, she moved like a dog would if it had suffered an injury. It was a natural lope for an animal, but not for a human. I could see her face this time, but it looked like she didn't have a nose, and her head was entirely too small for her large body. And she loped into the pine trees again, but this time I ran towards her as fast as my legs could carry me. I have very little cartilage left in my knees, so it wasn't really fast. And I heard her shuffling away into the pines just as I reached the tree line. Just before dawn, I'd almost fallen asleep when my cat began growling loudly and slapping at the small window. I turned on the lamp and got a full glimpse of half the face of the large woman. I knew it was her immediately. Her face has holes where a nose should be and swollen lips. Her eyes were dark brown all over, not like normal eyes. And I got up and yelled while pointing my piece at her, and she turned and ran. Through the window, I saw her scramble away. When I went to the patio door and turned the lights on so I could see her better, a mass of her body was swinging as she ran towards the pines. I opened the door and fired 2 shots towards the top of the pines. I had no desire to harm her, but I wanted to put the fear in her that I was armed and done playing around. I'm not a young man, and I live alone, but with a faithful cat and several guns. Yeah, that's a weird story.
It is, yeah.
Again, it's these weird one-off creatures. Like I've never heard anybody else just explain that description before the story, even the first time we read it, now the second time. It's a very unusual description, but Rachel says, maybe the skinwalkers who harass people are obligated to do so to fulfill the contract to retain their supernatural abilities. Evil, to create fear and to please greater evil forces. Yeah. Rachel, you always come from a very cool place on these thoughts. I think that's brilliant. It might be. There might be some dark supernatural contract, like Rachel's saying, that they have to do. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But it's a great thought, and it could very well be. Wow. I don't know, but just horrible. But again, I don't know if they deserve all the bad press, because the history of the skinwalkers, ladies and gentlemen, according to what I've gleaned from alleged First Nation sources, is that they used to be like the heroes when they were fighting against, the other countries coming in to establish, their property. The skinwalkers apparently helped the Navajo and fought off the invaders, whether it was from Mexico or from the Spanish forces coming up or from elsewhere. And they were kind of heroes, and something happened, and, apparently it had to do with the power that corrupted them and something to that effect. But, who knows? I can't tell you. I don't know a lot about them, but what I've heard is that, and what I've read in people's encounters,
Right.
just seems to be they more seem to get off on harassing people, but
Right.
they don't seem to kill people. At least, those are the stories that we've encountered. Now, I don't, again, pretend to be an expert, so there might be a whole dark history that's never discussed about how they take people away. I know that's the legend, is that they take people away to take their power, and maybe there's something to that. I don't know, but at any rate, who knows? Here's a 4-legged man ran as fast as their truck.
Ooh.
Ooh, 4-legged man. Okay. All right. This is from Redditor Word Blender. Sorry. So this happened to my son when he was 17 years old. We lived in New Mexico at the time. My son Cody was riding along with his friends Drew and Alex. They were in Drew's truck, and Drew was driving, and it was night. And they were heading to Drew's house. Drew lived out in the country, so the road they were on was isolated and surrounded by desert. In fact, that whole area is flat and mostly dirt. As they were driving along, they see a man standing in the middle of the road. Drew slows down, and they all expect the guy to move off to the side. But the guy doesn't move. He just stands there. Drew slows to a stop. The guy is standing just outside the light from the headlights. He's wearing jeans and some sort of long-sleeve shirt. Well, they couldn't make out the features of the guy's face, but they could tell he was facing them. Nobody moves for a few seconds. The kids start to talk about going around him, but aren't sure if they should just pass by this guy or turn around and go another way. Suddenly, the guy drops to all fours and starts running towards the truck. All the kids start screaming, and Drew slams the truck into reverse and floors it. Now they're going backwards on this dark country road, and this guy is chasing them on all fours, and he's keeping up with the truck. Drew goes faster until finally the guy drops out of sight. Drew turns the truck around, and they all came back to our house. I was in the living room when they came running in, slammed and locked the door, and went tearing upstairs to Cody's room. I went up to see what was going on, and this is when they told me the story. I've never seen them so pale and frightened. They were completely freaked out. Now, the guy kept up with the truck going in reverse. Right. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. So how fast do cars go in reverse?
They don't go unless there's something, modified on it. Yeah. Probably not more than 15.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's not as amazing as it sounded at first, but Android Purity, I'm going to be watching Hunt for the Skinwalker on Amazon Prime soon. Apparently government investigated that area because all kinds of paranormal stuff there. Well, that's good. Let me know what you find out. That sounds like an interesting one. I will be anxiously awaiting what you find out from that, Android. Thank you. That will be cool. I don't know. Asked to enter his house. I don't know.
I have a feeling we've read these.
I think so too. Let's move on. Let's move on to something else here. I'm just looking for what else we have. What time is it? Because I know I wanted to read this. Yeah, 8:30. This is a good time for a Brent Swanser article, right? I wanted to touch base on this one, ladies and gentlemen. This, of course, is a Brent Swanser article. Again, I say it all the time, but I'm a big fan of his work. He does a great job. His work is always featured on mysteriousuniverse.org, an amazing site full of thousands of articles about the Fortean topics. So check it out if you get a chance. Definitely stop by and support the work. It's also a podcast as well, as far as I understand, and a great one at that. So lots to check out here, but Brent Swanser, you can find him on Facebook at Dark League Paranormal if you want to get involved in his community. A great guy. He's always been wonderful about, us using his work, and we really appreciate that. And I want to do everything I can to promote it because literally for years, Don and I have always been excited when we see a Brent Swanson article. It's just the best written stuff out there. And there's a lot of talented writers in the paranormal, don't get me wrong, but Mysterious Universe has a lot of them. So anyway, this is about the mysterious Marfa lights of Texas. And this is a great way to close out tonight's show. Located within the Chihuahuan Desert of northeastern Presidio County of far west Texas is the dusty desert of Marfa. Founded as a water stop in the early 1880s, Marfa sits like an oasis surrounded by sprawling desolate desert. But despite its inhospitable location, it's become a sort of center for minimalistic art, and is known for its galleries, artisan shops, and historical architecture. Yet the town has become famous for something else as well. And here out in the desert Badlands, there has long been a mysterious, possibly paranormal light show that has never really been explained. Yeah, the Marfa lights are really long-standing phenomena. What have come to be known as the Marfa lights typically appear as orbs of light about the size of a basketball that materialize out in the desert wasteland of Mitchell Flat, looking towards the Chinati Mountains, to hover, fly, and dance about in the night before vanishing. They come in many colors, including white, yellow, pink, blue, and red, and can be very bright or faint, steadily illuminated or twinkling or flickering. These lights feature a wide range of movement and behaviors, either flying in a straight line or conversely bobbing up and down, darting about erratically, doing aerial acrobatics, accelerating or decelerating, and even merging together into larger orbs or disappearing and reappearing. They sometimes move slowly, at other times hovering stationary on other occasions traveling at great speed. Often all of the above. And one of the local by the name of James Bunell has said of the Marfa lights, "You might just see mysterious orbs of light suddenly appear above desert foliage. These balls of light may remain stationary as they pulse on and off, with intensity varying from dim to almost blinding brilliance. Then again, these ghostly lights may dart across the desert or perform splits and mergers. Light colors are usually yellow-orange, but other hues including green, blue, and red are also seen. Marfa mystery lights usually fly above the desert vegetation but below background mesas. The lights also don't seem to follow any rhyme or reason to their appearances, emerging at all times of the year and in all kinds of weather, and they've been baffling those who see them for a very long time. Although the Native Americans had long known of the lights' presence, perhaps the first historical record of the Marfa lights by settlers was in 1883 when a rancher named Robert Reed Ellison reported seeing a group of glowing orbs as he drove his cattle through the Paisano Pass. He assumed that they were Apache campfires, but no evidence of any fires or campsites could be found the following day. After that, more and more people began reporting the mysterious lights, and over the decades, there would be so many sightings that during World War II, there was even an air search conducted by pilots from nearby Midland Army Airfield to find the source of the lights. But they came back empty-handed and puzzled. On some occasions, there have been reports that the lights seem to show some sort of intelligence, sometimes coming closer as if out of curiosity, or seeming to investigate certain areas or to react to sound. And there are even stories of people lost in the desert being led to safety by the lights. But what are they, and where do they come from? Well, that depends on who you ask. There have been numerous theories as to what the lights may be. One is that they are some sort of atmospheric phenomena, in particular one called the Fata Morgana, which is an optical illusion that causes faraway objects to appear closer and distorted through light passing through all layers of different temperatures in steep thermal inversion, in which a defined layer of warm air is resting on a layer of much cooler air. Another idea is that these are the similarly distorted lights, car headlights, on the nearby Highway 67, made to look fuzzy and wavering by light scattering due to the air being unevenly heated by the ground. But this would not explain why they are almost always seen well away from the highway, and why they display such erratic and aberrant movements. Why they have so many different appearances, or how they would have been seen so much back in 1883. Other ideas include static electricity produced by geological activity, ball lightning, illuminated gases from natural gas and other petroleum hydrocarbons in the area, and of course alien UFOs and even ghosts, perhaps even all of the above. No one really knows for sure. In the meantime, Marfa has embraced the lights and sought to turn them into a tourist attraction. There's a roadside parking area 9 miles east of Marfa on U.S. Highway 90, specifically built for passing motorists to view these curious phenomena. Complete with a Marfa Lights viewing platform, and there is even an annual Marfa Lights Festival that features live music, food, and a parade. What is going on with these lights? What are they? Are they just some distant car headlights morphed into something more mysterious by atmospheric phenomena? Or are at least some of them something stranger? For now, the Marfa lights still occasionally come out to do their dance, and no one is entirely sure of what they truly are. You know, it's weird because there's so many types of lights like this.
Right.
What is this? A pickup truck can go 20 to 30 miles per hour in reverse. That's from Aussie Tiger.
Wow,
Depending? Okay.
because there's only one gear in reverse.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But yeah, I think that's plenty fast. I don't know how I would do in reverse. But anyway, thank you, Aussie, for your thoughts on that. I appreciate that. As my phone is. Oh, I'm sorry, Aussie, if you got to go. But thanks for coming in. He says, got to go. Battery's dying. But there are plenty of different orb phenomena all around, and it's not just Marfa, Texas. There's isn't it the Blue Ridge Mountains somewhere or something?
Right.
The Marfa Lights is one. Then there's I think in the Appalachian Trail they have orbs. I mean, Wes has talked about seeing orbs before when he's been out, and he's even tried to follow him. He and his brother Woody way back when tried to go after him, and then they noticed that they didn't seem to like that much or something. And I'm not really well acquainted with his story on it, but I know it's an experience he had. I can't other than the little itty bitty orbs, I've never seen something like a basketball sized orb, and I don't know what that is, but I will tell you, and referring to Sasquatch Chronicles again, I know that on one of his shows, I'm pretty sure this is Wes's show, but maybe I'm wrong. But there was some people up in this area, and I think it was in Washington, but it might have been somewhere else, that were investigating Bigfoot phenomena in an area. But they encountered these orbs, these strange orbs that were like softball size or whatever. And they were going all around and stuff, and the researchers were like, what is this? And I think it started where they shined their flashlights on it. And then after they shined their flashlights off, they kind of poofed and became these little beings and started coming at the researchers.
What?
Yeah, they started coming at the researchers. Now, these guys were there to investigate Bigfoot.
Right.
Not this phenomena, but they started coming at them, and the guys had nothing except flashlights, so they shined their flashlights on them, and as soon as the light hit them, they turned back into orbs and were drifting around again. And apparently this went on throughout that night, that they had to sit with their flashlights getting ready to shine it at these things whenever they would poof and become these little creatures again.
Wow.
I don't know, and I'm sorry that I don't know specific details, but I remember listening to that, I don't know, a couple of years ago, maybe, and it blew me away. I if anybody there knows what I'm talking about. My daughter saw the Marfa lights, Ghost Magnet says. Brown Mountain lights.
Yeah, Brown Mountain lights.
There you go.
Carolina. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Appalachian Mountains, Blue Ridge Mountains. Okay. All right. Cool. I appreciate that, Android. In fact, there's one video I'm trying to find, and it's one that I had found years ago, Don, and I remember showing you, or you found it, about them recording these orbs on this television show. It might have been Monster Quest or Monsters and Mysteries in the America TV show, but they were videoing these lights down in the valley below, in the woods, And they had some amazing video, but these were like generation 1 night vision. And for some reason, even though it's all green screen, green keyed, color keyed,
Right.
the light on the video was blue.
Oh, right.
Remember that?
Right, yeah.
Do you remember how you found that?
I don't remember how I
Oh,
found that.
because I was telling Bobo about it.
Right,
He's
you
like,
were. Yeah.
and he's like, oh, I'd like to see that. And for the life of me, I looked and looked and I can't find it. But if anybody knows what I'm talking about, please send me a link or send me what to look for on YouTube. It's a video out there of one of those Blue Mountain lights, Marfa lights. I don't know. It's not Marfa, Texas, though. It was in a mountainous valley
Right.
with woods. So I imagine it's Blue Ridge or something. Brent, if it's the same event, they have pics of the orbs turning into different shapes with red, blue, and blue colors. If what's the same event?
Wait, the researchers out looking for Bigfoot.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Maybe it is. Maybe that is the same event, Titan. I just remember hearing that part of the story and just, I think I was working at the time and I heard it and I was like, what? And then I started really paying attention to what was going on. So I missed some of the setup. I know there were Bigfoot researchers. They ended up bumping into these orbs instead
Crazy.
and having that whole experience. But yeah, I don't know. It's a phenomena that I think is very interesting. Now there is great video out there that researchers have of these orbs moving through trees.
Right.
I remember one video was from a camera mounted on the house, somebody's house, and they had seen these lights going through their trees, and they actually caught it on their security camera, going and weaving through the trees and stuff. And I think, how amazing is that? Could it be faked? Sure, but if it's real, that's incredible. What does Bobo think of the lights? I wonder. I don't know, Dan. He was interested in the subject. Like, Bobo's not just a one-trick pony. I mean, he's not just interested in just the Bigfoot stuff. I think he's really got a pretty open mind about a lot of this stuff. He seems to be an incredibly intelligent and really fun guy to talk to. I had a great time having him on the show, and I hope we can get him back.
Yeah.
And have him
That
back.
was awesome.
Hey, DJ Big Red, good to see you. But Don, should we do a roll call?
Roll call?
I
Do a
never
roll
did
call
one
real
on the
quick?
front
Sure.
end.
Yeah.
If you want to be mentioned on the roll call, say something
You
in
want
chat.
to be on this roll call.
If you want to be on the roll call.
Aussie Tiger just disappeared from my list, so
Sure.
he's done for the night.
Okay.
Android Purity, Dan Dawson, Digger Dog, DJ Big Red 210, Ghost Magnet, Maggie M10, Karen Alberdine, and Titan. I'm not even in that list. I wonder why.
If you've not been chatting.
There's Rachel Gets It Right, Lunatic Fringe.
Yeah.
They're starting to chat again.
Starting to talk.
Let's see, who else was here?
Android.
I know Hip Hop was here.
Android Purity, of course.
Yeah.
Did you read my story? I don't know. I don't know. I've gotten so many stories, and I just did a podcast recently of listener stories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I did DJ Big Reds or not.
There's Paul Holland.
Paul Holland. Hey, Paul. Herman Vera's still here. Justin Goodearth is always lurking.
There he is. Kim Clark.
Kim Clark, great to see you.
Yep.
Tracy Rue, 1989. Good day.
There's Elaine. Hi, Elaine.
Elaine's been lurking too. Maggie M10. Good to see you guys. Thank you for coming in.
Definitely.
Thanks for being a part of our journey.
Tracy Rue.
YTFP
Chris.
Oh yeah. All people lurking. I guess we're so compelling at speaking, Don, that
That they just want to sit back.
they just want to sit back and listen to the musings of the Paranormal Portal.
Paranormal Portal ASR.
AMSR.
The dulcet sounds of Brent Thomas.
as you say it, all sexy. All right. Yeah, you can listen to us all you want. That's great, and we appreciate all of you guys being here. We still got a little bit of time, so should I hit a couple more of those other stories?
Well, I got that story about the Mexican cave.
Let's do that. The what?
The Mexican cave.
Mexican cave,
So,
yes.
this is bigthink.com, and it says...
Can you send me a link?
Oh, yeah.
Because there's pictures on that, right?
There's a couple. I don't know if they're...
I'll just put it on screen so that they don't just...
Oh, there you go, yeah.
It's something to look at.
Something to look at. Something to sink your teeth into.
Summit.
Come on. There we go.
There it is.
Boy, I tell you.
Okay, I'll put it up on the screen so you guys can see what the beard is talking about. I'm going to go to Beard Vision first, though.
Bum, bum, bum.
It's all you, brother.
All right.
Take it away.
Mexican cave contains signs of human visitors from 30,000 years ago.
Oof.
Archaeologists suggest that this may have been the America's oldest hotel. It says scientists have found ancient tools as well as plants and animal remains in a high-altitude cave. The site is dated to 30,000 years ago, pushing back estimates of the first humans to arrive in the Americas by 15,000 years. There's no sign of these mysterious people remains in the modern gene pool. So it says the stunning discoveries released. Let me try again. I apologize. The stunning discoveries recently made in northern Mexico's.
Sorry. I couldn't resist. My apologies.
Wow. Well, Rachel gets it right. Don doesn't. Don's a little tired. The stunning discoveries recently made in northern Mexico's, is that Cajitite caves, raises more questions than they answer. Even so, they changed the conversation. The Clovis people, who arrived 15,000 years ago in the Western Hemisphere, were not the first people here as previously believed. The 30,000-year-old tools and animal remains in the cave belong to someone else. We have no idea who, but they're gone. They've been gone, but they were gone for thousands of years by the time the Clovis culture began. For decades, people have passionately debated that when the first humans entered the Americas, says co-study lead DNA scientist Eski Wilverslev of St. John's College, University of Cambridge. The cave will create a lot more debate, as it's the first site that dates the arrival of people to the continent around 30,000 years ago.
Wow.
15,000 years earlier than previously thought.
Wow.
The discovery is presented in a paper published by the journal Nature. The project was led by Cyprian Alderin. Cyprian Alderin, whose main affiliation is the University of that place in Mexico.
Zacatecas.
Okay.
Zacatecas.
The game-changing puzzle. Inside the high-altitude cave, some 9,000 feet above sea level, archaeologists found almost 2,000 stone tools. The scientists also found plant and animal remains at the site that radiocarbon dating identified as being from 25 to 30,000 years ago. One of the paper's first authors, geneticist Mikkel Wither Peterson from the University of Copenhagen, says, We identified DNA from a wide range of animals, including black bears, rodents, bats, voles, and even kangaroo rats.
Wow.
So whose tools and animals were they? The researchers have no idea, since no human remains have been found in the cave. This suggests that the site was not a permanently occupied settlement, but instead a place that people used only periodically. These early visitors didn't occupy the cave continuously, says Willerslev. We think people spent part of the year there, using it as a winter or summer shelter or as a base to hunt during migration. This could be America's oldest ever hotel. Nice.
Funny. Wow.
Ardeline says that perhaps the most important thing is who they don't seem to have been, based on the style of tools that were found. The people of the Clovis culture. We don't know who they were, where they came from, or where they went. They are a complete enigma. We falsely assume that the indigenous populations of America today are direct descendants from the earliest Americans, but now we don't think that's the case.
Oh.
Winter lodgings? The time to which the cave specimens date means people were there during the last glacial maximum. This is a time when continental ice sheets were at their maximum size, making northern Mexico seriously cold. Ardeline says there must have been horrible storms, hail, and snow. Nonetheless, the archaeologists who worked the site for 10 years and even spent months living in the cave tells Nature that it's well insulated and would have provided adequate shelter.
Yeah.
While the excitement in archaeology typically derives from findings constructed bit by bit from a painstaking collection of artifacts, the excavation of the difficult-to-reach cave was an exceptionally charged experience. The cave is located in the region of Mexico controlled by drug cartels, and the safety of the scientists was by no means assured. It was an unforgettable experience, recalls Peterson. It's a very unsafe place to travel, so we were accompanied by Mexican police officers in armored cars to the foot of the mountain. We left before sunrise to climb up to the cave so that we weren't spotted.
Wow.
Says Willerslev, I will never forget being part of this research. It was an unbelievable experience. The implications of these findings are as important, if not more important, than the findings themselves. This is the only start of the next chapter in the hotly debated early peopling of the Americas.
Early peopling.
Early peopling.
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
A migration route deal breaker. The first few pages of the next chapter may be a companion paper published by two of the study's contributing authors, Lorena Becerra, Valdivia of the University of South Wales, and Thomas Hyam from the University of Oxford. It contains, oh my goodness, it's not that long. No, it's not that long. It's almost over. It contains a statistical model of early human settlements of the hemisphere based on the cave and 41 other archaeological sites in North America, as well as Beringia, a region of eastern Siberia and western Alaska. Its authors also factored in historical climate evidence and genetics. Their model presents a history in which humans were in North America far earlier than the previously accepted date of 15 to 16,000 years ago. Mm-hmm. That the model is based on sometimes ambiguous data from so many sites inevitably means that its conclusions are likely to be controversial, but it is in any event a worthwhile contribution to the discussion. The model also supports the coastal migration hypothesis that visitors traveling the continent during the glacial maximum would have had to hug the coastlines to avoid the ice sheets atop the inland areas.
Wow.
So whoever these early humans were, what happened to them? Geneticist David Reich of Harvard Medical School in Boston, Massachusetts, tells Nature, there continues to be no convincing genetic evidence of a pre-15,000 years ago human presence in the Americas. Ardeline, for one, is not dissuaded by this. He proposes that these early populations simply didn't survive long enough to contribute to the modern-day gene pool. He says, undeterred, I definitely advocate for the idea of lost groups. Ardeline concludes, the peopling of the America is the last holy grail in modern archaeology. Unconventional sites need to be taken seriously, and we need to go out and intentionally look for them. This site doesn't solve anything. It just shows that these early sites exist. We are dealing with a handful of humans from thousands of years ago, so we can't expect the signs to be very clear. We have literally dug deeper than anyone has done in the past. So there you go. So the Clovis culture was not the first in the Americas, they're saying.
Uh-huh.
There quite possibly could be a very much older society.
Yeah, by a long time older.
A lot older.
Another 15,000 years
right,
older.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how etching a living off of the ice sheets
right.
would work. I can't even imagine what the world looked like then, or what it was like to stand on top of those glaciers. I can only imagine. I mean, it's just how our ancient ancestors managed to survive and thrive going through all of this is just amazing. Red, I'm seeing your posts here on Facebook, but there's no time. I will go over this on a future show, and it probably won't be until next Wednesday when we'll have a chance to do that, because we are going to be going into the weekend in Medaling Falls, where Don and I are going to be away, and we're not doing regular live streams as well, folks. This coming weekend, we will be doing live streams from the event. And so just be aware of that. I'll do a normal Thursday night show tomorrow night, but the Friday show, the Saturday show, and potentially something on Sunday. We'll see how it rolls, but there's going to be a lot of quick videos, 10, 15 minutes long over this event, and maybe some longer ones still as we get into it and the event gets started. But just keep watching the YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed and you get the notifications, because I have no idea when we're going to be streaming what we stream. But if you want to catch everything that we're experiencing and some of the interviews and discussions we have with the people, both the attendees and the presenters, we hope to talk to all of them as much as possible. And we'll certainly be streaming that right here on our YouTube channel. So we hope you guys will tune in for that and keep watching for it. We'll try our best to post on social media like Facebook, facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio, and the fans group as much as we can to let you know when those are happening. So if you're not ringing the bell, at least make sure you're following us on Facebook so that you can get the notifications when we go live.
And I just spammed the chat with the link, so for the live stream portion of it. So
for the paid live stream?
Right.
Yeah, I did that at the top of the show. But yeah, thank you for doing that. They are going to be live streaming it. If you can't make the journey to Medellin Falls again, check out the link Don just posted regarding the possibility of buying into the live stream, so at least you can hear the presenters and check out the events that way. Again, there's going to be so many presenters, and literally it's going to be a hell of an event. So if you can make it, if you can't make it to the event, at least make it to watching the live stream as much as you can. I'm not sure of the presenter schedule, but I'll try to find out and post that on our Facebook page as well, or at least tell you about it tomorrow night if I can nail it down for tomorrow night's show. But all cool, have fun, and thanks for this show. You're welcome, Maggie. It's our pleasure.
Absolutely.
Hi, Brent. I just sent you Facebook messages. Yeah, I will be excited to look through that DJ Big Red, but I just haven't had any chance. I can't do it on the fly here on the show as much. Brent, Don, thanks for a great show as usual. You're welcome, Titan. Thank you for being here and helping to manage the flow.
There you
and
go.
Thank you to our mods, Lane, and whoever else was here, and Titan, of course. But that's going to wrap it up for us tonight, I think, right, Don?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of our journey tonight. We always appreciate you being here. Anything in closing, Don?
Not really. Just join, just the typical thing, Teespring for your Paranormal Portal gear.
Paranormal Portal gear at Teespring. That's right. YTFP. Chris says Teespring. Yeah, you got it right, brother. All right, so if you don't make it live, it will be available after. I'm sure it will be Android. I know that they're going to record it as well, and you'll have to watch the Medellin Falls Bigfoot Festival page to see when that is. If I get any kind of confirmation of it being live, I don't know if they will or not, though honestly, because they are trying to raise funds for making it a bigger event next year. So
It's big enough. It's the whole town, 3 days.
I know.
Bob Gimlin.
Well, 2 days, 19th and 20th.
That's right. So
We have
Saturday,
to be
Sunday.
there 18th, but so it's Saturday, Sunday, and it's going to be a lot of things going on there. And there's a 5K run as well going on with this event. So there's so much going on. But I don't know if they're going to just stream it for free at some point in the future. Maybe, but it will be months and months from now, I would imagine, because the idea is they're trying to build revenue to make even more go on next year and have it a growing thing. So just keep your eyes peeled, and we'll do anything we can to update you with any further information about the event and what's going on. So again, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. That's going to wrap it up for us, folks. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.